Welcome to another episode of The FWOT Show. I'm your host, Rob Steele, and yes, we are part of the Coil Network. No, we don't have a website yet, but you can look it up on Facebook. COYL stands for Careful or You'll Learn, because we actually have some educational stuff going on. For example, do you remember something called the Doomsday Clock? Yeah, I haven't heard about this in, I'm going to go with decades. It has been quite some time since we heard this. We've even had wars like the Iraq War and the war in Afghanistan and all this crap going on in Syria. Has it moved the Doomsday Clock? Now, some of you are asking, Rob, I don't remember it. What is the Doomsday Clock? The Doomsday Clock is actually a fictional thing put together by a group of scientists who say that when the clock reaches midnight, that's the end of the world. Now, sometimes the clock gets closer to midnight. Sometimes it gets farther away. Like I said, we've had several wars since I last heard this clock was moved. But what moved the clock closer to midnight this time? Yeah, closer to midnight. Closer to the end of the world by 30 seconds. It is now 2.5 minutes to midnight. This is not a good thing. What precipitated the move? That would be the scientists saying, oh, look, one of the biggest nuclear powers on the planet, Russia being the other one, I presume, just elected a guy to the presidency who wants to use the nuclear weapons. This is the closest the clock has been to midnight since 1953, which is the year after the U.S. and the Soviet Union conducted competing tests of the hydrogen bomb. And what moves it closer now? Some jack-off who wants to use it. And who would that be? Why, that would be our president, and we all know his name, don't we?
John Cena!
No, it's not John Cena.
I'm Batman.
That would be kind of cool, and yet, no, it isn't.
Fuckface Von Clownstick.
You know what, John? That's close enough. Yes, Donald J. Trump. Wow. The guy who says whatever comes to his mind, kind of in a Tourette's sort of way, I would think, which raises the question, and this is the first question I have of many today. Have you ever heard of bad lip reading? It's a group of guys who have found videos of, TV shows or sporting events, and they redo the audio, so it looks like what the guy is saying is something completely different than what he is saying. Usually it's something horrifically silly. Things like, let's say, Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton in a post-game interview talking about, there's a snake over there, and I heard it might have bit somebody. Yeah, these are actually really funny things. Look them up. Bad lip reading. Yes, they do NFL. Duh. I just brought it up. Anyway, bad lip reading decided to do Donald Trump and all of his little press conferences and stuff and put silly things in place of what Donald Trump actually said. This raises the question, how much more bizarre can it possibly be than what Donald Trump actually says? Seriously, this is a guy who this past week reiterated, so he said this before, he reiterated, it's disgraceful of the Pope to question Donald Trump's Christianity. Seriously, the Pope. How much more Christian are you going to get? If anyone knows what someone's Christianity is, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Pope. The alternative? Jesus must come back. And if Jesus comes back and says, you aren't Christian, Donald Trump's going to say, who are you to question my Christianity? It actually is Jesus f***ing Christ. That would be the authority, one would think, and yet no, Donald would obviously complain and whine and moan and bitch. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He doesn't do that. I meant tweet about how, oh, Jesus doesn't like me. Not many people do. I'll get to that in a minute. But this all comes from his being elected. And I put that in quotes because technically he wasn't elected. He lost the election. He won the Electoral College vote, which is different and, as many people have been saying for a long time, absolutely unnecessary. But he says, no, I would have won the regular vote, but there were a lot of illegals who voted, millions of them. So I'm going to start an investigation into illegal voting because, there haven't been the 30 or 40 billion of them already that have said, there's not that much illegal voting going on. But it was announced. They found someone major who is directly connected to Donald Trump, who is illegally registered in 2 separate states. That would be his daughter, Tiffany. Hello. Are you ready to send your own kid to prison there, Don boy? 'Cause, wow. And it's not just illegal voting that has people against Trump up in arms. It's things like, I don't know. How about his aides using this messaging program on their phones that uses encryption that is against the laws that they brought up recently? You remember those? The ones the Republicans pushed through that said, thou shalt not use this type of messaging. They're using it. How hard is that? Oh, by the way, guess who's using a private email server as the president of the United States? With all the that has come up about private email servers, yes, Donald J. Trump is using his own private email server instead of his government issue one. How brilliant is this? Do we see any of the Republicans complaining about it? No, they've promptly shoved their heads right back up their asses where it's been the whole damn time. Oh, you want another one? Executive orders. Yes, executive orders. President Obama is signing too many executive orders. I mean, he signed 23 of them in 2016. Yeah, he did. He really did. Things like an executive order to enhance cybersecurity and counterterrorism. That's Executive Order 13725. Not of his campaign total since they created the concept. Or how about his one to increase competition and better inform consumers and workers to support continued growth of the American economy? You know what? That's a good one. He signed 23 in 2016. Donald Trump signed 17 in the first 4 days. Not weeks, not months, not years. The first 4 days of him being president of the United States, 17. Including one that pretty much violates the First Amendment and blocks a majority of Muslims entering the country. Spectacular. Why did he block the Muslims from coming in? Oh, well, that would be because Islamic terrorists kill millions of people every year on U.S. soil, except they don't. According to the Centers for Disease Control, who actually are the people who keep track of who kills what in this country, Islamic jihadist immigrants have killed, you ready? You ready for this? Since 2005, they have killed 2 people in the United States. 2 people. Conversely, over the past 10 years, 737 people have died from just falling out of their beds. Or, and here's a number I like, kind of, 11,737 people have died because they were shot by another American. Oh, by the way, that was last year. Alone. So does the Muslim ban make any sense? No. Is it illegal? Well, it's certainly anti-constitutional. Who agrees with me on this? There's a lot of people who have said this is a remarkably bad idea, including Michael Moore, the Pope, and, via Time magazine articles, Dick Cheney. If you get Michael Moore, the Pope, and Dick Cheney, and that is his middle name, all on the same page against somebody, you are obviously doing something horrifically wrong. By the way, this whole blocking the Muslim immigration thing, it all stems back to the whole 9/11 thing, right? Right? When, the planes ran into the towers and everything fell down. It must be the Muslims' fault. It's horrible, man. The Muslims did it. Do you remember when the Republicans called for a ban on Christians after the Oklahoma City bombing? Yeah, me neither. Maybe something to ponder. Oh, wait, let's get back to that whole executive order thing. One of the ones he did was restarting the pipeline in North Dakota. Because what is a president to do other than pollute the crap out of the country and further screw Native Americans? Because we haven't screwed with them enough, I guess. I don't know. He's also trying to make sure that we'd have no more PBS, Public Broadcast Service. You know, the channel that, until recently showed Sesame Street? Yeah, the educational channel put out by the government. Does he just not understand that the U.S. is a not-for-profit organization? And you don't have to privatize everything. That's not what it's there for. The U.S. is a non-profit organization, kind of a charity, really. But of course, if he watched more PBS, he would know that. He would know things like alternative facts. They're not real. Like when he said, it was the biggest inauguration for a president ever, which if you look at any pictures of it, you know, it was not. Do you know who even told him it wasn't? The people who run the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. They said alternative facts? Those are called lies. Stop using them. You're the president. So in conclusion to this section of the show, and there's absolutely no surprise here at all whatsoever, Donald J. Trump is the quickest president to ever have a majority disapproval rating. Now, all of the presidents in my lifetime have had a majority disapproval rating. How long did it take him to get there? President Obama? 936 days. President Bush II? That's GW for those of you who ain't paying attention. 1,205 days, which is about when the war started. Donald Trump? 8 days. 8 days until a majority of the country realized, hey, this guy really is face von Clownstick. And it has repercussions, global repercussions, even in the entertainment industry. For example, the guys who are in charge of the Bond movies have said, we're not going to make one anytime soon because, well, who are we going to make the bad guy? The United States president is already a Bond villain. Can we really have him as the bad guy in a Bond movie? And if you don't believe that, just look back at this whole Muslim immigration thing, where the 5-year-old child who is actually a U.S. citizen came back from Iran and was detained in handcuffs away from his parents. Yeah, because that's something all presidents agree with. Oh, you don't think he agrees with it? Listen to Shawn Spencer, that guy who announces stuff without using Twitter, sometimes called a press secretary, or as Trump calls him, that guy who talks to people who don't like me. He just announced that it would be misguided and wrong not to handcuff and detain 5-year-old Muslims. On the bright side, this coming weekend, I guess we're okay with him doing something that people complained Obama did all the time. What would that be? Oh, he's taking a weekend trip to go play golf with his buddies instead of doing his presidential duties as much as Obama did. Obama took considerably less vacation time than his last, I believe it was 4 predecessors. But people complained about it a lot. Oh, look, he's taking another vacation. Haven't heard anything about that for Trump, who has been here for 2 weeks, and he's taking his second vacation already. Must be nice to be king. President. Speaking of Shawn Spencer, I'm trying to figure this out. He's been in a Twitter war. Not with the president. No, that would be funny, really. No, this is a different feud he's having with Dippin' Dots. You know Dippin' Dots? You usually find them in the mall. It's kind of an ice cream, but it looks like little ball bearings. And their slogan is Dippin' Dots, the ice cream of the future. Shawn Spencer has tweeted the following things, such as, Dippin' Dots is not the ice cream of the future. Or, I think I have said this before, but Dippin' Dots are not the ice cream of the future. And he was amused when they filed for bankruptcy. I'm not sure if he was amused when Trump filed for bankruptcy. But then, almost a year after making fun of them for filing for bankruptcy, he tweeted, if Dippin' Dots was truly the future, they would not have run out of vanilla at the Nationals game. Does any of this make sense to any of us humans? Of course, it could just be a computer thing. Earlier this week, Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House and professional Gollum impersonator, was added to the Wikipedia list of invertebrates. I'm amused. How about you? Shopping news. Because millions of Americans like shopping at Walmart. The one problem I really have with Walmart going in and out of the store, just going in and out of the store, I'm not talking about taking local businesses and putting them out of business. I'm talking about just getting in and out of the Walmart. That would be parking. I have always thought parking at any Walmart I've ever been to, no matter how funkily they designed their parking lot, and there's a lot of them that are designed by hallucinogen takers. That's my guess. Anyway, Walmart is about to make parking worse because they're about to start selling cars. Because there are obviously not enough cars in the parking lot as it is. Go figure. Pretty cool science news from NASA. NASA astronaut Scott Kelly spent about a year aboard the International Space Station. And people are wondering, what are the effects of spending about a year in the space station? But there's not really been a really good way to tell the differences between a regular person and a person who's been in space, because everybody is different. Except, this time, Scott Kelly has a twin brother, Mark. Mark stayed on Earth. Now, are there differences? Yeah, quite a few of them, actually. A lot of them are available online. Look up the study. It's actually kind of cool. And you can see the following picture. Mark and Scott sitting next to each other. Born on the same date, within minutes of each other. Only one of them went to space. And it's fairly obvious which one did, because one of them looks about 10 years younger. Maybe that's a way to kickstart the space program. Who needs facelifts? Just go up in orbit for about a year. Of course, we could flip this and go to the weird science news of the week, which would be scientists have actually grown a human-pig hybrid in a lab. Now, this actually does have implications for growing new organs for people who've lost them and stuff. But at the same time, I think we can put this into the category of, hey, it's a scientific breakthrough that I didn't need to know about. You know what? Let's move on. How about the tweet of the week? This comes from a Twitter person named Untressor. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be either. The tweet is, Trump wants to ban Muslims, but if we learned anything from Prohibition, it's that people will just make Muslims in their bathtub. I'm pretty sure that's not the way it works, but I like the tweet. Speaking of Twitter, I want to know if anyone else is having this issue that I'm having with Twitter. About once or twice a week, I get on, I tweet 4 or 5 things, and that's about it. I don't really do a whole lot with Twitter, but it's done on a fairly regular basis. I mean, whenever I have a show come out, hey, I'll tweet it. But I keep getting warnings from Twitter that says there's irregular activity. There's not irregular activity, it's extraordinarily regular activity. Have you read what our so-called president keeps spouting? Seriously, that is irregular activity. Wonder if he has to change his password as much as I have to change mine. And speaking of Twitter, this actually goes to Facebook, which is something a little different. I had a friend get a post from another friend, and the post read, I heard this song today, and I thought of you. Now, the song was from In Excess, and it was called Don't Change. The catch was, it was posted on my friend's page, but she doesn't have a regular Facebook page. It's a memorial page, because she died a few years ago. Now, what exactly is this supposed to mean? I heard this song called Don't Change, and I don't want you to change. She's dead. What exactly is she going to change? I mean, the alternative would be she's alive again, which I suppose could be kind of cool as long as she doesn't come back as a zombie. Or does it mean, don't change, I like you dead? What the hell are you posting on a memorial page like that for? Seriously. Or am I reading too much into that? Entertainment news. And I'm trying to figure this one out. Tyler Perry was nominated for a Razzie this week. Now, if you don't know the Razzies, it's the opposite of the Oscars. The Razzie is for worst actors, actresses, movies, whatever. Tyler Perry was nominated for worst actress for his work in the Madea Halloween movie. Now, I'm curious if he, because Tyler Perry is a guy, for those of you who haven't caught on yet, if he wins worst actress, will women's groups still protest since he's a man who won the worst actress award? I'm just curious. I don't know. I also don't know the purpose of this article either. It came from CNN, talking about Oscar-nominated movies and how to watch them. The answer they had for every single movie, and they answered them all individually, was go to a theater, stream it, or buy the DVD. Wow, what incredible journalism CNN has developed. I'm so proud of them. And to finish up, in unnecessarily United States flag news, there was a story recently where a FedEx delivery man saved a burning American flag from some protesters. My problem with this is, seriously, some people put too much stock in the American flag because, I mean, the flag's damaged now, right? It was on fire, now it's not. so it has to be properly disposed of. How do you dispose of it officially and properly? It has to be incinerated. And for those of you who still think Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are different things, incinerated and burning the flag are the same damn thing. So it sounds to me like this FedEx guy, the one people are calling a hero, yeah, it sounds like he just wasted a fire extinguisher to me. Do you agree? Disagree? Have any other comments you want to make about the show? Go to the website, thefwotshow.com. There's buttons for Facebook and Twitter, and I might have even left the email button up there. Go ahead and contact me. And, of course, tell your friends about the show. Subscribe to it on iTunes or through the Google Play Store or even the Coil Entertainment Network, because there's great shows there. I'd also like to thank Jesus Jones for supplying the theme song again. I still love this song. I think it's very cool, and I do appreciate it, just like I appreciate you listening to the show. So until next time, whenever that's going to be, because this is an irregularly scheduled program, be safe out there, because it's really damn weird.